All right. Good afternoon.
Hey.
Okay. I'm here today with Mary Ann Clyde, who is a family therapist in Fauquier County, and Lake Lester, who also lives in Fauquier County. And the reason I'm here today to chat with both of you, and again, I know a little bit about this story. I'm good friends with Mary Ann, and we sit together on a board. But she told me that she was going to be donating a kidney. I know that you need a kidney. I also know that you guys aren't a match, but it looks like there's going to be hopeful results here. So I'm going to start with Mary Ann.
Okay.
Just tell me how this came about and your motivation for doing this and how you know Lake.
Okay, so once upon a time, Lake and I met in a networking group with one of the chambers.
Oh, okay.
And so we were in the same lead share group. And since that group has broken up, we've stayed friends on Facebook. And about a year and a half ago, I saw Lake post that he was in final stage renal failure and needed a kidney. And at the time I thought, well, I wonder if I qualify. And so I watched a video or read some articles or whatever and found out that because of some health issues I had, I didn't think I did. Then a couple of months ago, he posted again, final stage renal failure, really need a kidney. And I thought, well, you know what? I don't have those health issues anymore, so let's give it a shot, you know? And so I went, he gave me all the information to call Georgetown MedStar Transplant Center. They have a really neat program, because I said to Lake, hey, what blood type, are you? And we're not a match as far as blood type. So we knew that pretty much from the beginning of the testing. But they have a great program called the Paired Kidney Exchange, which means we don't have to be a direct match. He sort of gets a donation by proxy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Neat
So maybe
program.
you can tell them about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's if you can think about everybody going into a big pool of about on a daily basis of 300 or so.
Is this nationwide? Lake?
It's nationwide, donors and recipients, and the computer is working all the time doing matches. So there are people, recipients and donors going in and out of the exchange, and they told me it would probably be about 2 to 3 months for the computer to find a match for me. Well, lo and behold, it wasn't more than 2 weeks that they called me and says, hey, we have a kidney for you. And I was pretty surprised, shocked, and you go through a lot of emotions,
of course,
because your life changes and for the good. But the unknown is you're a little bit apprehensive because of not knowing where you're going to go from there. But it's a good program, and we've Mary Ann and I have told everybody that we know, or I have, who think they can't get a donor because of, well, they're not the same blood type, they're not the same tissue type, that sort of thing. I said, look, there's hope for you. If you have a donor, this is how it works. So that gives people hope.
So by having someone come forward like Mary Ann and donate, that puts you in a higher priority on this list?
Well, it sort of guarantees him a kidney there. So that
I see. Okay.
So that when I'm a match with somebody, my kidney goes to somebody else, then somebody else's kidney will go to Lake, so that on the same day, on Thursday actually, the same day, all 4 of us get the surgery on the same day. So donors go in the morning, recipients get their kidney in the afternoon, and so it's sort of like we'll be in Georgetown Hospital at the same time.
Oh my goodness!
And he'll be getting his kidney from some person in probably Pennsylvania.
They told me it was coming from.
And my kidney will go to somebody else. But
you don't know where your kidney's going yet.
Well, I'm a little confused about it. I thought I knew, but I don't think I know.
Well, the coordinator told me that it initially was going to New Jersey, I guess.
Yeah.
And the person that was going to be the recipient had gotten ill and couldn't do it, couldn't do the transplant just then, maybe later. So it's staying at Georgetown. Someone at Georgetown is getting her kidney.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm sure that's a big surprise to that person.
Yeah.
So when did all of these health issues surface for you?
I started having problems noticeably in 2015. I get a physical every year, so you get blood tests.
Sure.
And your numbers. You're not sure what the numbers mean
Yeah.
until the doctor says, well, there's something here. I think you ought to go see a specialist, which is a nephrologist. I saw the nephrologist, and he said there's a strange protein in your blood that we don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it went from there to the numbers started getting worse, and until they started talking, my nephrologist says, "Well, you better start thinking about dialysis." And that was a strange word to me. I didn't want any part of that.
Yeah.
But so I put it off as long as I could. What they do is they put a fistula in your arm to begin with, so that takes a while for that to heal. I said, no, I don't think I need to go just yet. And so it got to the point where they said, well, you've got to go in the hospital tomorrow, and they're going to put a catheter in your chest, goes into your heart. And they did that. I was in the hospital 3 days, and they did dialysis every day. And then we used the port until the fistula healed. And I've been using that ever since.
So he's been on dialysis a year now.
Yeah.
And when you say dialysis for a year, are you talking about going in every day?
You're going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's about 4 hours total per day. And you're lying there in your beach chair, just a recliner actually, and you can't move because you have to keep your arm. You can move some, but need to keep your arm still. Otherwise, the buzzers go off, and they have to work on the machine. But it's a lifesaver. It prolongs.
Sure.
Otherwise, it doesn't take long for your system
Just start to shut down.
Well, it becomes poisoned because you're all the poison that's supposed to go out of your body is collecting various parts of your body, and your system will finally shut down.
So tell me, I mean, you met him at a chamber thing and you've networked, but what prompted you? I mean, to me, this is a very brave thing to do.
Well, you know, the truth is, when he posted that and said, I need a kidney, and I know you only need one kidney to survive. You can live a very full, healthy life, really, with one kidney. So if Lake doesn't have any that are functioning fully, and I have two that are functioning fully, it just makes common sense to say, well, here, have one of mine, you know, and what's very cool, I just learned this at another interview we did at one point, was, so Lake's going to have 3 kidneys.
Wait, now how does this work?
Well, the surgery, they put the new one in. However, they don't take the others out. They just leave them there, and they finally will atrophy and go away.
I see.
And then your one kidney will take over the function of what?
So once that one good kidney is in there, it's not like you have to continue to have dialysis on the other.
No, the only time you would need to do that if it's a little bit slow in taking over its job, then to help it, you would go on dialysis. But the surgeon didn't think that would happen.
So both of you have doctors that are at Georgetown.
We have 2 different surgeons that are going to do the work. The whole transplant team, I have to say, has been amazing. From the first moment I walked into Georgetown MedStar and had to ask directions, they were friendly, they were cooperative, they were helpful, they were concerned, they were positive. So I've got a great surgeon lined up. Dr. Gassemian is going to do my surgery. Who's going to do yours?
Dr. Abrams.
Okay.
Both very, very kind, personable, knowledgeable, compassionate.
And this is going to be this coming Thursday.
Yes.
The 2nd, August
Yes.
2nd.
It is.
Wow. Now, Mary Ann was sharing a little bit before you got here that your respective spouses, that you're going to go to dinner. So have they met each other?
They have not.
They have not.
We didn't want to surprise them or have them surprise each other in
the
at
waiting
Georgetown.
At Georgetown. Oh, so this is good
I'm here to see
thinking.
so and so, and that's nice.
So we're
Yes.
going to introduce them to each other for
Oh, my
dinner
goodness.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the recovery. What have they told you about the recovery? I mean, you were telling me a little bit. You might have several weeks. of
Yeah, they
just-
said 4 to 6 weeks recovery. I think surgery, my surgeon said, was about 3 hours, and recovery is about 4 to 6 weeks. However, I kind of expect from all I can tell that really, you're allowed to drive after a week or two, and then after that, it's you pretty much just can't pick up anything heavy, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
And so I expect to be kind of up and moving after a couple of weeks.
And what about you, Lake? What's the time frame for
I
yours?
think they were talking about as far as the surgery goes and the process about 4 to 6 hours, but I think that's how long I'll be under.
Sure.
That's the whole process. And recovery time is about the same.
About the same.
2 to 4 weeks, and then no heavy lifting for 2 months, he says. And I think it depends on how healthy the person is as to how fast the body regenerates and gets going again.
And they make sure that it's working and all of that.
Yeah, I will be going back. He said about twice a week for a couple of weeks. They have to balance. I need to take several drugs. He said about five drugs. A couple will be anti-rejection drugs, which I'll take the rest of my life. And actually, they have a class on drugs to tell you what to do, when to do it, and so forth. But I expect to be back out. I've got to get back in the networking group.
That's right. Here
So
you go.
tell me what you do. I know Mary Ann's therapist, author. Tell me what you.
I've been in retail for most of my life after the military. For the last 2004, I have a custom clothing business.
Oh, okay.
Where I make appointments and I go to the customer, or they can come to my house. I have an office in my home, and I do the measurements and I send away for when they get their suit back. It fits them. It doesn't fit a hanger.
So predominantly men's clothing, or?
Yeah, I have done ladies as well, but it's a little bit. Well, not particularly, but if you like traditional clothing, business suits, that sort of thing. I don't do casual dresses or anything like that.
Oh, that is fascinating. That's interesting. Yeah. And you tell me, I think that you live in Casanova.
Yes, I do.
Well, you both seem very upbeat about this. So it's exciting. This is new ground, obviously.
Yeah.
This program, and I'll find out more about it when I talk to them over there, but is this kind of for anybody in the United States? I mean, you happen to be in close proximity to Georgetown, but I'm wondering if this is...
Yes, it's a national...
It's a national program.
A national program. There are several hospitals that are involved.
Oh, I
Georgetown
see.
being one of the top transplant hospitals in the country.
They're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Proximity to them.
Right.
Well, so your respective spouses will meet. I'm sure they're happy about this. Is great.
Yeah, my wife is very excited.
Of course.
Very
How long have you been married?
We've been married, almost we'll be married 14 years this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you've been married a long time too.
Yeah, 30 years.
30 years. I'm actually coming up on 35 in
Wow.
August,
There
so
you go.
I know.
One thing I would say about the whole process,
Mm-hmm.
if you suddenly are diagnosed like I was, you need to be proactive with it. Don't make it a secret. That's what they tell you. If you have friends or family, or doesn't matter, if you could reach out as far as California or wherever, but let people know. That was my. I decided to do that early on because when you get involved with dialysis, you see people who are in very poor health, diabetes, high blood pressure, just barely making it. Some of them come in with in wheelchairs, diabetics with no limbs, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I wanted to do my job and let people know, and then I can be an advocate if I am fortunate enough to
That's
get a kidney.
Yeah.
I know what the process is,
Right.
and
and you'd be, willing to share that
absolutely.
information. So
Right.
it sounds like for you, it's been about a 3-year process. You said this all started in 2015 and now culminating in 2018.
Yeah. It probably started before then.
Sure.
That's when it showed up on tests,
Mm-hmm.
and it surprises you, of course, when you're diagnosed.
Because were you feeling badly or anything, or?
No, your energy level goes down, and
Sure.
you contribute that to just getting older. Well, I can't do what I used to do as long, and I got used to doing what I needed to do early in the morning, and in the afternoon I would have, I could take a nap or whatever to recoup. But it does, it drains your energy. So I decided that there's a company called KidneyBuzz.com, and they're national, and I had them do a website for me with my bio, and that's what they do, and then they put that out in social media, and they're very involved in kidney disease and with kidney patients, but I did get some hits on the website, but nothing positive. Nothing.
Well, and I think what's really interesting about this too is that Marianne is deciding to do this. I mean, she's obviously alive and vertical and sitting here, because sometimes they'll wait. I mean, somebody has to, be in a car crash, and they've indicated
Sure.
that you can take their organs and they'll take them as preserve them and whatnot. This, you're both being very proactive to make this happen.
Well, one thing I found out too is that deceased donors are remaining about level over the years. There's as many deceased donors as there have been for years and years and years, and yet the need for transplants is going up, up, up. So less people are getting kidneys that need them, and so the live donors have to be increasing now.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, about 30% of donors now are live donors. And I think once we get beyond you don't have to be a blood type match, you don't have to be a tissue match. You've got 2 organs, then somebody can use one, and you can be just perfectly fine. I mean, the doctor told me you can eat and drink anything you want. You can climb stairs. You can, just a few days after you get out of the hospital, and so it's really, don't be afraid. I mean, many of us have it on our driver's license to donate,
Sure.
and that's wonderful. That's wonderful. But if you can help somebody that you know, or not. I mean, you can give anonymously.
This is like taking networking to a whole new level.
Right. Do I get a lead share credit for
It
this?
is.
Where's Joe Martin?
Yeah. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. I mean, I was so blessed that Mary Ann stepped up. If she hadn't, of course we don't know if someone else would have, but I didn't see anything in the near future, and I was really doing everything I could do. I was going on Facebook, and I was on Kidney Buzz, and I was researching. I did a lot of research on kidney disease, and so I would talk to people who, hey, you've got to watch what you eat. I mean, if you're obese or if you have diabetes, your kidneys could be affected and they could shut down, and that's one thing you really don't want to happen.
And we want to take some of the fear away from the donation process.
Sure,
It's really a great program. I mean, I went in for some extensive tests. I mean, I got tests I would never have been able to pay for, and got a full day of complete testing and then follow up for like a month and all that kind of stuff.
To make sure,
Yeah, and the question a lot of people have is, well, what if one of your kids needs a kidney or your spouse or something like that, which is certainly a legitimate question, but I don't think we ought to live in fear that somebody we know is going to get sick. I think we have today.
That's right.
We can do what we can have today and have faith that something else will be taken care of in the future. And then the neat thing too is if I ever go into kidney failure myself,
you will not. So
I
you
will
will
be
have
put to the top of the donor list.
I see. So really,
so there's very little. Well, there's risk. I mean, I don't want to,
Well, you're weighing the risks and rewards.
Right.
Both of you are.
Sure.
I mean, in your case, if you don't find a kidney, you're looking at the rest of your life being on dialysis, and of course, I know Mary Ann's spirit, so it doesn't surprise me that she's done this.
I think
brings her out a little though.
Yeah, just a little bit.
One thing I hear, and probably Mary Ann, people will say, well, I can't afford to go through the testing. But actually the recipients, Medicare and my insurance.
I was going to ask about the insurance. Well. I see. So your insurance covers.
And one thing about it, Medicare, regardless of age, you don't have to be 65 or you don't have to be Social Security for them to pay it. 7% of their budget actually goes to dialysis. And a transplant costs about half of a year's dialysis.
Now that is interesting. That is interesting. In a way, it makes sense because there's just a lot of time and prep and equipment with dialysis. And if you just get a new part,
Yeah, you take the company I'm with in Haymarket. There are two major companies. They have 2,500 clinics around the world, overseas as well, and it's it's almost like 7-Elevens. They'll put a clinic if they're, I don't know, I guess they go according to the population, but it doesn't have to be that many. They're pretty close together, and they're all the chairs are full. They have in mine clinic. They have 12 chairs, and they have two sets, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, of 12 people. So that's 24 per day, 3 days a week, and it goes on and on.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So it seems like a real practical solution as a transplant.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
Well, and I've always been an advocate, no ends, just a series of new beginnings. So that's what this definitely is.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing this story. I mean, I think it's definitely a story worth telling and worth sharing, and both of you being proactive, optimistic, forward-looking, weigh the risks and rewards, and And when you look at it in some sense, you're right. It's a no-brainer, So
we had about a year ago, right after I went on dialysis, maybe, or before, Georgetown, once a year, they'll have a panel,
Mm-hmm.
and they invite anyone that's gone on their website and questioned and so forth. They'll invite you to this. They'll have a panel of donors and a panel of recipients, and we went to one. There was, I think there was a husband and wife. The wife had given the kidney to her husband, or vice versa, maybe. There's one lady. She had just retired. She said, "I've thought about giving a kidney, but I was going to wait till I retired, and then I thought, well, I've got it on my license, so I'm going to do it when I die. But then I started thinking about it. I'm not going to have a good feeling when I die, knowing somebody got a kidney from me. I want to know it now."
Oh, I see.
And she did. She said, "That's the best thing I've ever done."
Oh gosh, well it is, sure, because it's like pay it forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very much what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate your sharing your stories, and I'm anticipating that maybe when this is all kind of done, we may ask the two of you to come back again, kind of post recovery,
Yeah.
and see how it goes. But congratulations to you, and this is great.
Yeah. Thank you.
You look happy.
Yeah.
Here's a critical question: where are you going for dinner?
Oh, good job.
We're going to, what is it?
Cinnamon pearls.
Cinnamon pearls. All right. Good
Yeah.
choice. Good choice. A celebratory dinner, and then this Thursday, so 2 days. I'm excited for both of you.
Thank you.
Even though, yeah, it was kind of, when she first told me, I went, Marianne. But now I see, yeah, it makes good sense.
Well, as prevalent as it is, as kidney disease is, it needs, you don't get much press on it. You don't get much of these stories on it. Once in a while, you'll get someone who's donated, maybe on TV, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like cancer, where they have, there's something about every week somewhere. And it, actually, kidney disease kills, is the cause of death of more than breast cancer, more than prostate cancer combined.
Really?
Yeah. There are over 100,000 people on the waiting list, transplant list. And Georgetown, last year, they did 17,000.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
It's not even a drop in the bucket, so to speak.
Right. So
Well,
we really
I think-
appreciate you.
Well, and I think a lot of the consequence of this is that as a population, we're living longer. Many of us healthier, but not so living longer. And then the advances in the medical field that enable programs like this and across a spectrum, also increasing, maybe not at the same rate. So these are the realities that we're dealing with. But I think the key thing that you said out of all of this is being proactive about your own life and your future. And now so much of it you have to do that. You're given a diagnosis, and then your choice is to kind of sit back and accept that, or hey, what can I do to hang around
Right.
and have quality of life?
Right.
Sure.
That's what you're doing. Good.
And if you can change industries like the food industry, let's say, I learned early on, because you're on a very strict diet, kidney diet, to read labels and to shop on the outer perimeter of the grocery store. But if you read some of the labels on some of the food, on especially canned food or prepared foods, you'll see how much sodium is just loaded with sodium, and that's bad on your kidneys. But I think if one of the things I would want to do is kind of educate people what this is doing. I've gone to the deli and I said, I'd like to buy one of these wraps, but you've got 1,500 milligrams of salt in there. I can't eat that. Well, they come in prepackaged. We can't change it.
Yeah.
I think more and more, we're discovering what we put in our bodies and where it's all coming from and what's happening to it. And in a way, it's kind of alarming because, you know, you're getting, for instance, your dairy products from the cows, whatever. But now, what are the cows eating, or what have they been eating, and it just goes through this chain of what's coming out of the water and what's coming out of the grass and what chemicals. It's like, what can you safely eat, because your body is a repository for it all, and some of it gets flushed out, and some of it doesn't. It just builds up, and yes. I'm not quite sure where I was going with that, only from the fact that you're correct. You're correct. Because same with sugar. Like, I try to watch sugar, and you think, oh, a product like orange juice or some fruit, it's a natural fruit. I'll take this apple versus these cherries. Well, there's fruit and then there's fruit, because some of the fruit has a lot of natural sugars in it. It may not be, like orange juice is loaded. I mean, if you look at how much sugar is in orange, and I love orange juice, and it tastes so good, and how could it not be healthy? Yeah. But it's loaded with sugar. And even like some of these places that sell smoothies and stuff, and you think, oh, I'm having a smoothie, I'm going to replace my meal with a smoothie. But what's going in that, you know? It's like the sugar shack, you know?
Important to know, right?
Well, you take young people with young children. On bottles, instead of milk or something, healthy drink, they'll have orange juice, sucking on orange juice, which is, like you say, loaded with sugar.
Well, and now, because I've got these young grandbabies, I'm noticing in all their cases that the children are drinking, they're either having the milk or they're having water. The juice is kind of limited, which is good, because so much of the juice is just, it's loaded. And you think apple juice and these things, but they're just loaded with sugars. So I think a lot of the new age of moms, they're a lot more conscious, even when I was raising mine. But you wonder, gee, what can I safely eat or drink? Oh, God. Anyway, all right.
Thank you for raising awareness of this.
Yeah, thank you.
No, you're very, very welcome. We'll certainly do our part and to spread the word. And I'm just happy for the two of you. This is great. I don't know you well. I know Marianne, but I'm thinking, hey, this is great.
Well,
we're excited.
We're going to become better now.
You're going to be Your networking is going to continue.
That's right.
Okay, very good. Well, again, thank you for taking the time to share.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're very welcome.
Appreciate it.